Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our final Economic Vitality Committee meeting for the year, and the last one for Sharif and I as chair and co-chair. So please be easy on us today. So we'll go around and first of all, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Amos has been kind enough to agree to start that for us. So it's all yours, Amos.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you for pulling up the flag for us. So if we all stand, we'll begin. I pledge allegiance, to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Amos.
No problem.
Lisa, do we want to start the roll call next?
Yes, thank you. So if you're present, please say aye. Brian Wilson.
Aye.
Daniel Watson.
Aye.
Ellen Penske.
Aye.
Harsh Goel. I see Harsh. Councilmember Balch.
Present.
Kelly McCaughey. Reena Gupta.
Here.
Roderick O'Brien.
Here.
Sharif Madavi.
Present.
Steve Baker.
Aye.
Steve McCoy Thompson.
Aye.
Steve Van Dorn.
Here.
Sylvia Tien.
Aye.
Tiffany Cadret.
Aye.
Tracy Farhad.
Aye.
Will Dorlick.
Aye.
And Zach Grant.
Aye.
And Amos Nugent.
Aye.
And we have a quorum.
We have
Thank
a
you.
good group today. Thanks, Lisa. Let's dive right in. Do we have any agenda amendments, Lisa or Pamela? Anything to change to our agenda?
No agenda amendments from staff.
Okay, any from our committee? No? Seeing none? Let's move on to the consent calendar. We have one important item, the approval of the meeting minutes of our last meeting on October 21st. Any comments, questions? Can I hear a motion to approve?
I so move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all of those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you, Tracy. Moving next to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak with us this morning? Oh, anybody there, Lisa, hanging out? No?
We do have one attendee. So if there are any comments from the public, they haven't raised their hand, but we do have one attendee. We can move forward, Steve.
Okay, great. Let's do it. So we covered that. Next is public hearings and other matters, and our favorite part of the meeting, our council members update from Jack. Jack, it's all yours.
On his last meeting, I get him to call me Jack instead of Councilmember Balch. Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for the floor. Only a couple of things for the council since our last meeting. We had the Tri-Valley Mayor's Summit, as probably many of you know about, in late October, well attended outside at Wente Vineyards. And then the council meeting from the first meeting in November 2nd. I'm just going to mention that this week, the council at that time proclaimed this is the week for United Against Hate. So we are trying to promote that, and just be aware it is this week, the week before Thanksgiving. Dan Sodergren got a contract modification, so you might have heard about that. And then something I just want to highlight for this group that's a little bit under the radar, so just be aware of it, is this item called SB 1383. It's organics reduction and recycling. The city council is passing ordinances related to compliance with this, but it will require landfill diversion, and it will be causing some changes in our community as well as the entire state. So I just want to make sure you're aware of it. It is a big issue. You may recall the city of Pleasanton will probably have to purchase approximately 6,000 tons of mulch. So on that. Okay, the next item was we approved our local 995 ASME contract for a 3-year extension, which is most of our clerks and dispatchers and things like that. And that was really nice to have that buttoned up. It's very similar to our fire or our police contract, and our fire contract is still in negotiations. And then you probably also heard that the council introduced on consent safe storage of firearms, and trigger locks are available at the police department. On the main event, there was a 2021 state legislative update. I believe there was 9 housing bills covered in that presentation. I didn't have time to go back and look, but people may or may not know the way the legislature works. It's a 2-year cycle. We're right in the middle of the 2 years. So we have the next year ahead of us. And the changes in year 1 were pretty significant. And so I just want to make sure everyone, maybe if you're interested in what's coming upon us, you might have heard of some projects down on Harrison Street and some others with no parking or parking waived. That was discussed, and additional obligations therein. And then right on the tail of that was Climate Action Plan 2.0. And the council basically did continue to support many of our commissions and committee recommendations about meeting our goals, short-term 2030s, et cetera, and be aggressive. I remember attending this meeting or others where people brought up electrification, and it really does depend on grid reliability and incentive-based outlook. And that definitely was the staff recommendation as well as council's affirmation. Then I'll just happen to mention, since we're in November, that the Veterans Day Parade was on November 7th, attended by a lot of people. I think people just enjoyed being out. And then we obviously had Veterans Day, and there was a small gathering up at the Pioneer Cemetery. So that was really nice. And then on our most recent meeting this week, the 16th, we appointed Mr. Doland as our interim city manager beginning on December 1st. So he will become that just through that action. And just so that you know, this council is in the middle of a recruitment process for a city manager. Mr. Dolan may or may not choose to put his hat in that. You could call him and might get more information than he has done with me. But if you know the gentleman, he's a bit tight-lipped, better than most, actually. And I don't think I'd want to play poker with him. The other thing is the calendar for 22 got set. Goodness Village, as Sylvia mentioned earlier, did come before the council for a funding request. And I just want to mention, is approximately $100,000, a tick below that. Normally this would go through our commissions for recommendation, but it was a call it an emergency request, due to the timing and the needs and the calendar. So the council took it up without or bypassing the commissions or committees, which I think many on the council don't prefer to do, just so everyone's aware. And then a couple of other big things that also were on consent, and I just want to make sure I highlight. We have budgeted, people probably know we have this budget process, and then we budgeted down based upon the COVID pandemic, right? We didn't know what was going to come back, and we did not undertake many capital improvements, nor did we basically hire when anyone left. We didn't backfill the positions. So both on the agenda, we have surpluses because the results came in actually better than we anticipated. There was approximately $4 million of the CIP budget that was not spent. And that's simply because we just didn't do the projects. So it's kind of a push. It just moves to next year, and the council did that action. The second thing, though, is there was approximately $7 million of the general funding that was in excess. Sales tax started to improve a little bit better. Property taxes continue to be in budget or in line. And our transit occupancy tax was, this is odd talking to Pam, of course, but they just came in better than our revised down budget. So if you look at our initial budget, they're still below before we knew of the pandemic. But when we revised down pretty significantly, and they've come in better than that. So what the council did is it restored some of the allocations to different groups to try to restore some of that initial funding, and we went from there. I should also mention, outside of council action, the council did receive an update on our assistance programs and where they're at. And there is still a little bit of room left on all of those. And whether the council takes up to fund an additional round of assistance or not, that's a little separate from the policy of just actually the budget mechanics. So just a heads up there. And then the other big thing, and again, trying to just keep everyone up to date, we are moving forward with the PFAS treatment plant in our community. It will be located at the Operations Service Center. It is estimated to cost approximately $46 million in total, between $20 million for well rehabilitation, and then another $26 million for the actual PFAS treatment facility itself. It is estimated to raise the water bills approximately $10, a little tick below $9.5 per cycle. So about $5 every month, $10 per cycle. And the reason this matters is we are trying to get state revolving fund debt to debt finance a portion of this. I think it was 32 million, Pam made, yeah, okay. And that would be approximately 1.5% interest. If the city has to go out to kind of other markets to get the financing, it would cost approximately 3%, 3.5%, and that would be based upon bond financing at the time. So, with inflation around, as everyone's probably heard the words, it's important we move forward. So the council approved action to the staff to try to get the revolving fund money, get going on it, and that was another major item on consent. And then the state storage firearms came up for its second reading. But the big event that Sharif kind of hinted at was mental health, as you probably all know. So the council did approve approximately $850,000 for a pilot alternative mental health response program with our police force. And, just to be very clear, this is put together by professionals that have worked really hard, having several meetings, outreach, and determining how in Pleasanton, without county assistance or a county program in place to support our residents and our community, how do we afford it? How do we do it? And I think it's possible, or it became possible for this structure because we, as I'm classic Zoom, my phone's ringing. We had Dublin, Pleasanton, and Livermore came together earlier this year to fund a mental health program at Access Community Health. So because the Access Community Health pilot is going on, funded by the 3 cities in conjunction, we Pleasanton were able then to do this, where we're gonna hire 2 clinicians, one specialized in youth, one specialized more in adults or non-youth, I guess call it like that. They're going to be city employees. They're going to be employed through the police department. And then they, along with a sergeant who will be managing the project, and our housing outreach team, which will change its lens of focus a little bit, will work in conjunction with Access Community Health to really try to provide solutions. It's a pilot, just so everyone knows, and it's going to probably need to change frequently. So the council asked for 6-month updates on that. But it is something, there is a need that exists. There is no county support for it, and that's why. The next big item on the agenda was school resource officers, as you probably also know. So a lot of people spoke on this. We got a lot of emails, and appreciate all of that. That's obviously exceptional to know. The school resource officers is basically a memorandum of understanding between the police department and the city and the school district. And obviously, Ms. McCoshy, Trustee McCoshy's on the horn here and can talk from her perspective. The school district approved it in late October. The council had some minor red lines that were probably more to help clarify intent, I would say. I don't think it actually changes the nuts and bolts too much, but definitely gives everyone understanding of the intent of our school resource officers. There's a lot of conversation about it, a lot of concerns both ways. And I think everyone came together really well to clarify ambiguity, and it passed 5-0. So we're moving forward with retaining them. It will be reviewed every 6 months as well. And we go from there. It was a 3-year contract, I should also mention, just so everyone's aware of that. And then last on the list, at a late hour, so most people tuned out, was SB 9. And this is concluding out, but SB 9 is the, in short and butchering it really well, it's the one that lets you split your lot. If you have land available, lets you divide your lot and build additional housing units. And we basically heard it allows you to build up to 4 units where 1 unit existed in the past. There's a lot of conversation around it. The main things that always seem to come up, depending on wherever you are on housing, is the parking conversation. And I'll just mention that if you are within, under the law, if you are within a transit designated stop, BART, Route 10R, if it has headways of a certain amount, or the ACE train, then you can basically have either 0 parking provided or a reduced parking. I think it allows 1 spot per dwelling unit. And you can watch it for all of our commentary and political fodder on all of those opinions, but it is something the council's grappling with. The main item, though, was the city staff, through working with Ellen and her team and Shweta, basically came up with design standards so that, you know, the house that gets built, one of those 3 new ones, for example, really does try to conform as best we can to the existing community, because you are not able to have objective reviews or discretionary reviews. Excuse me, not allowed to have discretionary reviews, must have objective standards that are just checkboxed down. Sorry, to be very clear, objective design standards. And then I'll just mention lastly that Nelson, it was his last council meeting as city manager. So there was a little ceremony or thank you at the very beginning, a little teary-eyed. I don't care what you say, to be a city manager for 17 years is excellent stewardship, and we have all benefited in our lives. So if you do see him or want to shoot him an email, you got until November 30th to do such. He's pretty quiet or doesn't enjoy it, so I really have been trying to froth it up. So with that concludes it. And I must mention, I have to leave at 8:30 because we're honoring a crossing guard, so I have to go to do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Jack Balch. Great presentation as always. A lot going on with the city council, and we're all going to miss Nelson's leadership as a city manager. So thank you for that. So we're right on time. So I was about ready to cut you off there, but you got it in. So good job. Next item is the meat of our program today is talking about workforce development. We have some great speakers with us today. I want to thank you all for joining us at 07:30 this morning. So appreciate it. Let me quickly introduce them. Our first speaker will be Dr. Christina Whalen. She's the Vice President of Academic Services at Las Positas College. We also have Alison Lindo, the Program Manager for Tri-Valley Career Center. And then Sarah Holtzclaw, Director of Apprentice Programs with Chabot Las Positas, is also here with us this morning. And last but certainly not least is Emma Chang, Senior Human Resource Business Partner with, excuse me, with Biorad. And she does have to leave at 8:30. So if you have any questions for her after she's done, hopefully we'll have time to get her to answer any questions. So let's kick it off. And Lisa, do you have anything to add before Dr. Whalen begins to speak?
I'll just acknowledge on the staff report that this item is part of our economic vitality strategic plan. It's one of related to an action that we have on there. So it's really important information. And I think that we're fortunate to have these regional partners on the call, as well as having these programs available to our community. So just want to acknowledge that and to welcome our speakers. Thank you.
Dr. Whalen, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the introduction. I've met some of you and look forward to meeting the rest of you. I've been the Vice President of Academic Services at Las Positas College for 2.5 years. Only 9 of them without a pandemic, a global pandemic. So I will be speaking a little bit about that, as we are very concerned about workforce development coming out of the pandemic. As the Chief Instructional Officer, in my portfolio is distance education, career education, as well as adult education. So this is a particularly keen time to interact with this committee, because we last fall completed our educational master planning, and then in the spring looked at a subset of that planning, which was our economic and workforce development plan. We finished that in May. And I'm here to show you some of the goals that and strategies that have arisen from those conversations on our campus and with our industry partners. And I do have a little bit of a slideshow, a slide deck to share with you today. You can all see that, right? Oh, thank you very much. So I will move forward. I'll be talking a little bit, just briefly, because I know that you're probably very familiar with Las Positas College, a little bit about who we serve. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do, but I'm going to spend the bulk of the time talking about where we are going. I'm showing you this graph. It looks busy. I'd like to unpack it just briefly with you. It is looking at our head counts, which is the blue bar. The red bar is the number of seats that we fill. And you can see that from 2015 to 2018, we had fairly steady enrollment at Las Positas College. We had a small dip in 2019, and like all 116 community colleges and most of the public institutions of higher education in the state of California, we are experiencing an enrollment decline as an onset of the pandemic. We are down what we consider to be a significant amount, over 10%. And the population that we are down is very concentrated. It is predominantly male, and it's predominantly males of color. I want to spend just a little bit time on this race and ethnicity slide, just so you know how the demographic shift has occurred at Las Positas College. The blue bar, again, is where we were in 2010. The red is where we are now. You can see the shift that has occurred here. We have our fastest growing population being our Asian population, which we're ready to dig in and disaggregate that population and have a more granular view of that. We are now an Hispanic serving institution with 30% of our population in the Latinx category. We have a declining white category and the emergence of a multiracial category, which wasn't charted in the past. We keep our eyes laser focused on what's happening in the school districts, because Las Positas College, as a Bay Area 10 community college, has a younger going college population. And so our connection with the K through 12 system is very important with us. We note a couple of things about Pleasanton Unified students, which I'm sure you know as well, which is that 1/4 of your students leave the state. And that is well higher than Dublin or Livermore. And it is of note to us as well. Of the unified school districts, we do have the smallest population that attends Las Positas College. Now, here is a slide that says here our first introduction with students from Pleasanton Unified is generally in our concurrent enrollment program, in which students can supplement their AP credits or replace that AP experience with coming to college and taking a dual enrollment class. You see a big jump in 2017, and that is because that's when we instituted a middle college, which is a flagship award-winning program at Las Positas College. And we award degrees and a fairly high number and a record number this last year, even though we were in the pandemic. And there is the number in 2020, 2021 that we awarded to Pleasanton residents. So if I move forward, and suddenly I lost my ability to do that. Now I jumped ahead. I want to talk about what we do a little bit. And it's important to note that when we're serving students, we do that through a guided pathways framework. And what that means is that we don't just display all of our academic programs and alphabetical order and have the students gut it out. We actually have clustered our opportunities into academic and career pathways. We're in the process of formulating success teams, which will service the students in each of these career clusters and provide them with navigation resources and the best possible academic experience that we can put forward. Part of that is that we provide students with a map of their programming sequence. And here's just a general education program, but every credential that we offer now at Las Positas College has this map telling students semester by semester what faculty discipline and counselors have said would be the best course to getting through the degree or credential at the fastest pace so that they can get to a living wage. We also have been working really hard to provide industry-aligned certificates and associate degrees. We now have a web page up that pulls those out and surfaces them for residents. And of particular note is some emerging and highly successful programs that you'll see in Red Hat Linux, as well as artificial intelligence. We just launched a drone program that will be a beautiful addition to a lot of the areas of interest that we have at Las Positas College. We have traditionally been considered a transfer institution. We had a record number of transfers in 2021. We are the 5th highest transfer institution in the state based upon transfer velocity data. That has long been the I would say the brand of Las Positas College, which is our ability to transfer students expeditiously. But I'm gonna, and part of that is that we have these transfer admission guarantees, which provide an affordable route to the UC system. You increase your chances or get a transfer guarantee by being accepted into a TAG program. We just last year added a transfer alliance program with UCLA. If you look at that last paragraph, you join through our honors program. The UCLA TAP program increases your chances of getting into UCLA considerably, up to nearly 80% of the students will be accepted. So where are we going? That brand of Las Positas College being a transfer institution is extraordinarily important. It is one of our strengths, and our educational master plan asks us to leverage that strength. But where we're going also is taking our pockets of strength around career education and scaling those at the institution. So we, as such, have an economic and workforce development plan. The 4 goals that have emerged from that plan are listed here on this slide. Support for workforce preparation, partnership development, institutional alignment, and community outreach. And in my remaining time, I hope to just take you through a little bit. I've pulled out what I thought were the most salient strategies for this committee as it relates to 3 of these goals. One of them is more of an internal goal, so I won't spend our precious minutes together talking about that. But I did want to spend just a little bit of time talking about student support for workforce preparation. We have a concerted effort now to increase the number of students with the desired skills and industry recognized certification. So that was that slide I showed you earlier. And we'd like to increase the number and make sure that they are laser focused and aligned with what the industry and the Tri-Valley needs. We are intent on developing more work-based learning opportunities, which are high impact practices that increase student success, but also connect students with the employers. We have the ability to connect students with the current technological tools and continue to do that through our strong workforce funds, as well as our Perkins Grant. And we're interested in designing a first-year experience that onboards students into their career pathway, and are looking for industry to help us design that so that it is high impact for students. Our second goal that I'd like to pull out for you is our partnership development. With industry partners, we're interested in developing high demand certificates that lead directly to employment. Right now, we often rely on the Silicon Valley Leadership Group to form those partnerships, as we have one in formation now, in which an employer has high-level jobs that are generally, they get graduates from MIT all across the nation, but they have really well-paying entry-level jobs that they've moved away from feeling like they need to hire students with bachelor's degrees. And they know that students, our employees, have the skills they need after an associate's degree with some small tweaks to our curriculum. So we're working with that industry partner to make those changes, and they're going to employ our students right away into a living wage job. That's very exciting work, and we're interested in scaling it up. Our outreach to employers, and so happy to be here today with the Tri-Valley Career Center, our partners at Las Positas, our community, Chabot Las Positas district. We're interested in developing short-term skill builder programs. We do have a nice package of programs that we call Year to Career that will surface all of the programs that we have that are short-term certificates across the Chabot Las Positas Community College District. But that collection needs to be more robust, and that's one of our goals. Develop an active role in workforce board committees. So very pleased to be here today. We have these pockets of success, which you probably know about, like our Vets to Tech program, and our partner, strong partnership with the lab. And our strategic plan is looking to build more of those opportunities for our students. And then my last is community outreach. We're interested in how we can design our message, what resonate with employers. We also want employers to recognize that if they're interested in diversifying their workforce, the community college is the place to work, to look. And it is, if you look at PhDs from the community of color, 70% of those graduates started in community college, which demonstrates the capability, but also the diversification that could happen by partnering with Las Positas College. We're interested in partnerships and where we're looking at incumbent workers that are looking to advance, that joined the workforce before they'd finished a credential, and now they're stuck in an employment pipeline that they can't move forward. And I have enjoyed working with Sarah Holtzclaw, who's also here today, to design some apprenticeship opportunities Las Positas has not had many apprenticeships before. In fact, we just added our first last year, and now we're about to launch about 5 under Sarah's leadership. Those 2 points I have already covered. So I'm thankful to be here to ask the question, how can we partner? And some easy things I think that are available is to provide work-based learning opportunities for our students. We have a handshake platform that is mentioned there. Work with Las Positas College to create a tailored employment pipeline, and really to pull out of what I know is a centerpiece of the Vision 2040 document, which says that we're interested in knowing that we have learning outcomes that would allow employers to hire directly out of Las Positas College and have a really quality employee that is more likely to stay in the Tri-Valley, and as many people want to do. That sort of concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Whalen. That was exceptional. Lots of things going on at Las Positas College, and appreciate the update. Are there any questions? Do we want to do questions now, Lisa, or per speaker?
Why don't we wait until all of the speakers go ahead and present?
So
questions?
please hold your questions. Yes, moving along. Our next speaker is Alison Lindo with the Tri-Valley Career Center. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Great. Right. My name is Alison Lindo. I am the program manager for the Tri-Valley Career Center. I have a PowerPoint as well. Let me get that up and running. I am also joined today, just for full transparency, I've been in this role for about 4 months. So I invited Sarah Holtzclaw, who's also here. She's the director of apprenticeships for Chabot Las Positas, but she was previously the program manager. So just in case any questions come up that are above my knowledge or beyond my knowledge, I have her here. So as I mentioned before, my name is Alison Lindo. I've been in this position for 4 months. Prior to that, I was working for Oakland Unified as a college and career center director, college readiness specialist, work-based learning. I kind of worked my way up through workforce development at Oakland Unified. And then before that, I was an enrollment specialist for the EDD for their youth employment program at their Vallejo branch. So lots of backgrounds in terms of workforce development. So I'm going to go over who we are, the Tri-Valley Career Center, for folks that don't know what we do, why we do it, who we serve, where and how you all can help us. So the Tri-Valley Career Center is a service of Chabot Las Positas Community College District. We work under the Economic Development and Contract Education Department. Some of our funding comes from these folks, including Livermore. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. United Way as well, Workforce Development Board, etc. So we're kind of a nonprofit, pseudo nonprofit is how I like to describe it. And we're part of a national and regional network. So other centers such as Ohlone Tri-Cities Career Center, Eden, AJCC, we're all a part of that network of career centers, employment centers. So what we do, we cover every area in terms of workforce development. So we empower job seekers. We also connect employers, and we consult with small businesses. We work with the community colleges, of course, with students and faculty as well, to provide job training, workshops, and information to students. So we have a number of different services. Starting with our online services, and then we have self-directed services, staff-directed services, and finally our paid training, which is that little gold nugget that you got to dig down deep to access. but it's a great, great opportunity for job seekers. So for our online services, this is open to anyone. You can go to our website at trivalleycareercenters.org. And there you can find tip sheets. Job seekers can find tip sheets on job searching during COVID, on how to prepare for a job fair, many different just tips and tricks that they can use. There's also sample resumes that they can download, sample cover letters, just things to help them prepare for whatever job that they're looking for. We also have an online job board, calendar of workshops that they can access, and tons of information, not just for job seekers, but also for employers and small businesses as well. So some of the workshops that we offer include resume writing skills, how to fill out online applications, interviewing skills, networking, LinkedIn, how to build out your LinkedIn page. And one of our big ones is our job club, which is a space where job seekers can come together. They can look for jobs in a group, receive support, networking, referrals. We also have guest speakers come in who are employers that talk to job seekers and give them advice and direction. And our job club is led by our job developer, Sharon Schuyler, who's amazing. And it's really a great resource. We have seen a lot of our job seekers get connected to employments just by coming into our job club. And all of these workshops are currently offered on Zoom. And we've also started to transition to some in-person offerings, but all of this is accessible at a click of a button. Anyone can visit our website and click on the link and join our workshops. As I mentioned before, we also have an online job board. So this is open for job seekers to explore jobs, and employers are also able to just go in, log in, and post a job. Any job that's posted is reviewed by our job developer, and within 24 hours, that job will be posted on our site. She'll also contact the employer if there's information missing, or to give them tips or advice on how to make their posts stronger, how to attract more job seekers. So it's really a great place to post, because it's not just like Indeed or other job postings where you post and kind of go. You actually get feedback for employers on your postings, on how to make your job look more attractive to job seekers. Because right now the big thing is we've got a lot of open jobs and not a lot of job seekers that are applying. So how do you make your job more attractive? And one way is post here, and you can get a follow-up with Sharon, who will give you feedback on just how to attract more folks to your posts. And then finally, we have our hiring events. We do coffee breaks with employers. Those are smaller hiring events that are more focused on networking, but there also is some hiring that takes place. So we just actually had a coffee break on November 9th, our last coffee break for the year. Great event. We had 13 employers, and we like to keep it small, between 10 to 15 employers. And we actually had quite a few job offers that came from that event. We also do larger job fairs. We do a fall and a spring job fair. So we just had an in-person job fair on September 9th, and it was a huge success. We had over 40 employers that participated, and over 130 job seekers actually showed up to our center in person to participate. And we saw a lot of hirings that happened during that time. We also offer resume reviews to job seekers, and this is also an event. We've been doing it virtually, but we plan to do our next resume review in the spring in person, where folks can come in and they can actually have their resumes reviewed by professionals. And we normally do our resume reviews right before job fairs or hiring events, so that job seekers can be prepared for our events when they come in. And all of these are open to the public. These are all self-directed services. It's just up to job seekers and employers and community members to just go online, register, or come into our center to access these services. Along with those self-directed services, our more staff-directed services focus on our WIOA program. So our WIOA services are for adult and dislocated workers who are eligible, and we have an orientation that happens around that. So if job seekers are interested in our WIOA program, they can attend orientation to get more information. If they enroll in our program, they can receive scholarships for vocational training certificates in growth industries. They can receive help paying for industry recognized exams. They can receive funds for interview clothes, transportation, tons of support, wraparound supports. And then they also get free one-on-one career advising and job search assistance. So our self-directed services are all more group-based. So they'll have group job searches and group resume reviews. But if they join the WIOA program, they will get that one-on-one service with a case manager who will work with them, not just until they find employment, but will also continue to check on them a year after receiving employment, just to make sure that they are where they need to be and that they have the support to continue to be successful in their career. So some new initiatives that we have at our center are, we have our Prologist Grant, and that is focused on transportation, distribution, and logistics, career exploration, and placement. And what that is we are working with Prologist. It's a huge warehousing company, and they have provided free online training that's open to anyone where they can explore careers in the TDL industry. From there, if they say, hey, I'm interested in this industry, our center, along with other job centers across the Bay Area, will then help them get connected to employers within this field. If they enroll in WIOA, they can get training, for example, forklift certification. We will help them pay for that. Also on-the-job training. On-the-job training is available for them as well. And one of our biggest and our main focuses for this particular grant is working with our veterans who often come from logistics backgrounds, helping them transition into these careers that, as we know, with our supply chain issues due to COVID, these are industries that are really needing workers. And so one of our big pushes is working with our veteran centers, including the vet centers at Chabot and LPC, to provide veterans with these opportunities. We also have our Bay Area Opportunity On-Ramps program, and this is focusing on job seekers who have high school diplomas and are skilled through alternative routes. We call them STARS instead of four-year degrees. And this is getting those folks into career pathways that lead to livable wages and just clear areas of growth. So we are helping our STARS get connected to training programs that are low cost, that don't take a ton of time to complete, but will lead to high livable wages. So this is just another initiative that we are pushing at our center this year. We also have employer services, and that includes recruitment assistance. So if employers need help finding job seekers, we are there to support them. We host hiring events for employers if they need help with hiring events. We provide labor market information if requested. We also help with candidate screening and referrals. So going back to our job club, that is a great place where not only job seekers can explore different job opportunities, but we get to know our job seekers a little bit better and can then make referrals to employers should we have a client that matches what they're looking for. We also offer training assistance. So as I mentioned, we do provide on-the-job training assistance. And so we can help employers cover the costs of providing on-the-job training to a job seeker. And then also industry connections. So
Ian,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are we about done? Because we're
Yes.
running out of time. We have one more speaker. I want to make
Oh,
sure.
sorry about that. Yes, yes, I'll
Thank
speed
you.
through.
Thank you.
So I've already mentioned about our online employer services, including our job board and also tip sheets and things online that employers can access. We also provide free tax preparation for the community. And so we have done over 620 tax returns. Our program is growing every year. Last year, due to COVID, we were not able to provide in-person services, but we did do it in Zoom over Zoom, and we managed to file once again over 600 returns for low-income members of the community across the Bay Area. We serve everyone throughout the community, no matter the age, gender, education. They find us mainly through referrals, and that is a big thing for us. And then we also attend community events. This is one of the community events that we attended this year. That's another way that we let people know we are here to serve and to help. All right, and I will just speed through. We are open to the public. We have a new location in the John Muir Health Building in Pleasanton, 5860 Owens Drive. So please tell people we are here, we are open, we are providing typing tests, computer access, counseling, but we are still online as well for folks that are not comfortable and would prefer virtual services. And I'll just keep going. So how you can help, we are looking for folks to mentor job seekers, guest speakers. We provide informational interviews, so volunteers there. Biggest thing, connecting our job seekers. Please tell them we are here, we're open, we're ready to help if you know of job seekers looking for referrals, and send employers our way. We are here to help them as well. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Sorry, we're just running
No worries.
out of time, and I want to make sure we get Amina a chance because she has to leave at 8:30. So
yeah, no
thank
worries.
you so much. A lot going on at the Tri-Valley Career Center, and your new offices are beautiful. So hopefully people will visit you. So Emma, hopefully you've got enough time to update us on what you're doing, and you can stay for questions before you leave. So
yes, that'd be great. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for having me today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I just have a couple of slides to share with you here to kind of just walk us through. All right, can everybody hear me okay? All right, thank you. Again, thanks again for having me here. I know with Biorad, I think a lot of folks actually associate with Biorad with being in Hercules, which is where our corporate office is. So we've been excited to partner with the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce a few years ago as it relates to just really getting on the map in Pleasanton. So what I'll do here is just kind of give you a brief background and history about the Digital Biology Group, which is a specific division, to the Pleasanton office, and kind of give you a little bit of some data here. But first and foremost, just to touch on the mission so you guys know what we actually do. As you can see here, we develop digital biology tools that really drive the rapid advancement of knowledge in healthcare and research by harnessing the power of droplets and microwells for biology in high resolution. So we provide world-class digital PCR, polymerase chain reaction, and single cell analysis products to the translational research, biopharma, and molecular diagnostics markets. Remember this, there'll be a quiz at the end. I'm just kidding. So in other words, basically what we do is we develop, we manufacture, we have a manufacturing company organization, in Hercules, and we market a broad range of just innovative products for the life science research and clinical diagnostic markets. Just to give you kind of a snapshot of, again, our history, we were founded in 2011 in Pleasanton with the acquisition of a small company called QuantaLife. So it's a little company that we acquired the droplet digital PCR technology I mentioned and the intellectual property portfolio that goes with it. And then last year, we actually added a second location for our Digital Biology Group division, located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with the acquisition of a company called Celsi. And then most recently, October 15th of this year, so a few weeks ago, we added another acquisition of a company called Dropworks last month again in Boulder, Colorado. And again, with Ann Arbor, we have about 40 people. In Boulder, Colorado, we have about 35. In Boulder, Colorado, we have that, it's basically an adoption of our single cell analysis products, introducing it into the market. And you'll see here, just to kind of give you some snapshots here, that's pictured. We started in the rectangular building in that digital biology center that we started leasing a few years back. We recently purchased that building and the building next to it, which is the one that you see that looks kind of like an octagon. And then the last picture at the bottom, you'll see that this was the last time we all got together. A lot of us got together as a team where there were no masks, no distancing, and it was pre-COVID lockdown. We got the team together to celebrate the launch of our very important and very long tenured project of an instrument called QX1. So with that, I just wanted to kind of share with you a little bit about kind of our office first and foremost. We have about 160 employees between the two buildings. It's primarily an R&D center, so a majority of that number, closer to 100, is R&D, which encompasses our scientists, our engineers, and our software and analytics teams, and chemists. And then some of the other smaller groups, we have our project management team, quality and regulatory, finance, business development, and operations. So I'm the only HR partner on that site, and I solely only focus and support this division. So it's been great just being able to immerse myself in the business. And so because of the sheer number, and it's just not very big as compared to thousands of employees in Hercules, it's very kind of a tight-knit group, if you will, just given the size. So it's been a great experience for me. I myself, I should introduce a little bit about what I do. I'm in HR, and I actually have been there for almost 4 years now. And like I said, it's been a great opportunity just being able to partner with the folks and really be on the ground with everybody that I support. So I'll touch on a little bit about our recruiting, and then I'll open it up to questions. So just to give you guys a little bit more data, we've actually been able to successfully hire basically 32 employees since the pandemic started. So basically closer to April of 2020. We've been doing everything remotely, virtually, I should say. So we've been very fortunate to be able to attract and retain a lot of our talent. Of course, like a lot of other companies, we've had, as they say, the great resignation. So we've had a few resignations as well. So in a way, we've kind of been doggy paddling as we try to recruit talent, because with some folks either relocating out of the area outside of California, going into startup companies, just for a myriad of different reasons as to why they're leaving. We're also still doing our best and continuously trying to attract and retain talent. Like I mentioned earlier, there's like only 160 employees, but because it's such a tight-knit family, we want to make sure we maintain and sustain such a culture of trust and collaboration and communication. And so with those types of cultural values, I'm involved with pretty much every interview of final candidates. So it's been great to meet different folks and be able to really match them with the skill sets and experiences that we're looking for. And the jobs that we have are anywhere between, like I said, engineers, bioinformatics engineers, data scientists, chemists, software development managers, almost kind of that gamut of within the biotechnology space. And it's great to hear from Alison Lindo. It's nice to meet you virtually. I've worked with a couple of your colleagues at Tri-Valley Career Center. So we actually were able to participate in a virtual career fair with Tri-Valley Career Center earlier this year. So definitely been a great experience, and I want to hopefully reach out shortly to partner with you on future fairs as well. I'll pause here for any questions. I just want to make sure I gave you guys kind of the lay of the land as relates to who we are. Like I said, Bio-Rad is very much associated with Hercules, but we would love to continue to strengthen it and really highlight our, our footprint in the Pleasanton Tri-Valley area.
Thank you so much, Emma. Would you please stop sharing your screen so we can see everyone?
Sure.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the speakers. Hopefully everyone's still here with us. So why don't we open it up for any questions or comments? I know there's been some chat going on, people sharing contact information. So that's all there. Any comments? Oh, Tracy has her hand up. There she is. Hi, Tracy.
Good morning. And I beat Pam by just a nanosecond there on my hand up. To grab Emma, because I know she's out the door. What percentage of your workforce do you anticipate coming back into the office physically, and when?
Great question. I apologize. I actually should have mentioned that we actually returned outside of the R&D folks. So the R&D organization has been back since actually they haven't ever really left. So our R&D organization and our manufacturing teams in Hercules have returned, but on a rotational basis. We've kept the density in the buildings low to ensure the safety, and obviously we are highly vigilant in following county and state guidelines as it relates to the protocols around COVID. So we did return as of November 8th. So there has been definitely a lot of anxiousness and nervousness. However, I'm happy to say that our company has welcomed the opportunity to do a hybrid schedule. So basically it's 3 days in the office and 2 days work from home. And then we've had several requests depending upon the role, as long as it's not a role where it requires somebody to be in the office to work in a lab or working on an instrument, then it could be a potentially fully remote opportunity. We found that, especially working closely with our recruiter, we found that there's so many job opportunities out there that are offering full remote right off the bat. So I think, as you all know, working now maybe 19, 20 months working remotely, it's been tough to kind of have that mindset shift to kind of go back into the office. So we've been, we've definitely been very empathetic to everyone's, unique situations. And so with that being said, it's still following the protocol, and we've, been able to, move the cubicles, if you will, in a way where it's, distanced safely. But also too, we have been able to keep the density low, just given the rotational schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Pamela.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I just want to jump in for a moment here. You all have figured out that Lisa and I were trying to bring to you what is probably the framework of future discussions, right? So you've got Tri-Valley Career Center, and I think that there's a really compelling discussion point to talk about how they're helping all of our companies, but particularly the service industry, right? Attract employees, because we know restaurants and hospitality, Tracy, I saw your comment in the chat, right, are really struggling to find employees. And so knowing that you attract all sorts of employees, really understanding how we can help make connections there for our employers in that space would be really helpful. And then you've got Dr. Whalen with Las Positas College talking about pipelines. And I know particularly for Kelly and for Steve McCoy Thompson, right, there's some really important work and discussion to have there. And then also with Emma, before she jumps off, I think there's potentially a future conversation for us at the EBC to have about what recruiting strategies many of our employers are looking to use, what they found helpful, where they might need help from institutions like Las Positas or from agencies like the City of Pleasanton. And so I just want to offer that today is probably what you might think of as a springboard for future conversations. So even though we're not going to get to every talking point today, know that we can start to do deeper dives down the road as we go on, because I think that there's some really great stuff to talk about in the future, and we're just not going to get to all of it today. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Pamela. Great way to close this out, but we're still got time, I think. So
Yeah.
Daniel, I see your hand up. Good morning.
My mistake. I didn't mean to put my hand up. I just wanted to say hi to everybody.
Oh, hi. Well, no, thank you for doing that. Sylvia, I see your hands up.
Hi, thank you, Steve. And it's great to hear so many wonderful presentations. I just would like to understand if there a way that my company could give our service to all the 3 presenters if needed. My company, I really, recently I just went to a company called Predison to offer the testing service, free testing service. for COVID and flu A and flu B. Right now, we're going to roll out vaccination. So if there's any need, I would like to be connected and then, you know, provide service. And also, I would like to know for the Las Prestigias College, is there a program that would help students, like students who are not very good at academic, but very good at handy things, like doing things by hand and then practical, and then is there any internship or apprentices a program for that? So that's my question for Christina, I believe. Thank you.
Sure. I would say that we actually do have a wonderful collection of very hands-on. We're in the process, as I'm sure many of you know, of building an advanced manufacturing and technology complex, as well as a public safety complex on the Las Positas campus. So that hands-on program, we're building out an academic and support program, are building as well, which will be called, it's not a very sexy name, but Building 2100, which will have a maker lab in it too, that will be very hands-on, but connected with our computer network and technology program. So there's a lot of, proverbial getting dirt under your fingernails, and including our viticulture and horticulture programs at Las Positas College. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Whalen. Sylvia, maybe put your email in the chat for those that you want to reach out to, and they'll maybe pick that up. So Steve, good morning.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thanks, Pam, for the shout out PPIE. We are working with a lot of companies. I really just want to give a shout out to Emma. I put something, a note in the chat, just to highlight that. Would love to connect with you as we are looking to connect business volunteers with students and to give them a vision for a potential future. So give me a call. So in Rotary, if you do this kind of self-promotion, you're fined. So if you guys want to find me, that's okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Steve. I'm going to send out my email address as well onto this chat. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for joining us, Emma. I know you have to run, so really appreciate it. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. You all too.
Yes. And Sarah, I see your hands up.
Good morning. I can't have a group of people in front of me without promoting apprenticeships as well. And it is National Apprenticeship Week. And so I just wanted to kind of give a little shout out to that training opportunity. If you're looking to diversify, as Dr. Whalen said, that is an opportunity for us to create a program where people are working and getting the training that they need at the same time. It is, they're diversifying. We're putting together programs at Las Positas for Robert Half International in cybersecurity and in accounting. We have one for truck driving, as well as those traditional trades. We even have one for yacht repair through Las Positas. So they can take classes on campus. They can take your own class, create your own campuses, and all of them get college credit and have a degree pathway, so that there is transferability into that program. So I'm happy to talk to an apprenticeship takes an employer to be able to, because there is a full-time job associated with an apprenticeship, but I'm happy to talk to anybody that's interested.
Great. And Sarah, how do we reach you?
I'll put it in the email. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's great. Any other questions or comments? We're about at the time where we need to move on to our next item. Any other questions? I don't see any. So thank you once again to our speakers for being here today. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to continuing the conversations moving forward into 2022. So the next item we have is a very important item, the selection of our chair and vice chair for 2022. And I think Lisa is going to carry the torch on this. So thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thanks, Steve. In the chat, a couple people have asked for the presentation, so I'll be sure to reach out to our speakers and get your presentations. Thank you all again for participating this morning. We really appreciate it. So for this item, it's our selection of our EVC chair and vice chair. I do want to say thank you to Steve Van Dorn and to Sharif Madavi for the last 2 years, even though 2020 got short and we only had 2 meetings, I think, that year. But we did a lot this last year, and I do want to acknowledge both of their hard work in leading the EVC and working with Pamela and I to plan meetings and get resources and information. So thank you so much, Steve and Sharif, for all your hard work. And you're going to be on the committee still, so we're not saying goodbye to you. We're still going to put you to work where necessary, but thank you so much for your leadership. So for this item, we are going to be looking at selecting an EVC chair and vice chair who will each be serving 1 year. And as noted in the EVC report, that Tracy Farhad is interested in the chair position and Tiffany Cadret is interested in the vice chair. So I did not receive any other nominations prior to this meeting, but it is open as well to nominate at this time. And what we are looking for is action to either move to accept those that I mentioned are interested in the 2 positions, and then a second. So I'm going to open the floor right now to either nominations or a motion.
I'll make a motion that we nominate Tracy as the chair and Tiffany as the vice chair. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Baker, do we have a second?
I would like to second.
All right, Sylvia, thank you. Let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm glad Tracy and Tiffany raised their hands. Very good. Congratulations, you two. I know you're going to do a great job. So thank you for stepping up and being willing to do the chair and vice chair of this great committee. So that was easy, Lisa. I guess the next item is any economic development information updates. I know you sent a lot of information with the packet. Anything else to add?
No additions to what was included, and thank you to Sharif for calling out a couple of the items that we have on the updates. If the committee has any questions, Pamela and I would be happy to respond.
Any questions for the city staff? Okay, great. Well, we're now ahead of schedule, which is always fun. So I just want to say a few things, and I show Sharif has a few comments. I just want to thank Sharif for being my co-chair. It's been great. You're a good friend, and I really appreciate your help. And most of all, I want to thank the staff, Lisa and Pamela, and also Kaylin for all that you do, putting together the minutes and putting together all these speakers. Being a chamber guy, I know it takes a lot of time and effort. So thank you for all that you do for the city of Pleasanton. And I also want to thank all the committee members for your engagement. I think we've had some great discussions, and we've got a great group here that hopefully we can make some more wonderful things happen next year in the city. So thank you all, and I want to wish you all happy Thanksgiving. So Sharif, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, Steve, thanks. It's been a pleasure working with you and consider you a friend as well as a colleague. We just are about 100 yards down the road from one another with our offices. No, I mean, this is all about giving back to the community. We're all citizens here and serving in a way that isn't typical. And, you know, stepping up, being willing to meet, being willing to discuss and give input to the city on ways we think we can make this city better from an economic standpoint it's a great privilege. So I'm a little more than halfway through my 8 years. I'll be stepping down, I guess, in 2024 or something like that. But this has been fun for the most part. Not really too frustrating and not a huge burden of time. So thank you, Pam, for getting me involved. Thank you, Lisa, now for taking over. For Pam, it's been interesting to see the arc of things and dive into the controversies a little bit. And I would just encourage any of you who have friends who want to get involved, to get involved. That's the way we make a robust city, is by people being actively involved instead of complaining about it after the fact. So I just think we're in this unique position. We all have networks of friends, people we work with, to let them know, hey, yeah, we're on the EVC. So, other committees, Parks and Rec, there's lots of other things they can do, but serving is kind of a neat thing to do. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Well said, Sharif. Thank you so much. We've got a couple minutes here before we close out. Any other announcements or comments? Otherwise, and if it's business related, you will get fined, as Steve McCoy Thompson said. No, I'm kidding. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Okay, well, thank you all once again, and wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving with your friends and family. Stay safe and stay strong. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, folks. Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. See you soon.